The night my family showed their true faces. Something felt wrong from the moment I stepped into my parents' house that evening. The lights seemed too bright, the smiles too forced, and everyone acted like they had rehearsed their reactions before I walked in. My mom had insisted that I come home for a family dinner, saying it was important, saying everyone would be there, almost begging me to make the trip. Since I hadn't visited in months, guilt pushed me through the door. My brother Liam greeted me with an unusually long hug. He held me tightly and avoided looking into my eyes afterward, which immediately made me suspicious. Then my mom rushed over with a glass of wine, telling me to relax and saying that the night was special. I remember thinking that nothing good ever follows those words. When we finally sat at the table, I expected the usual routine. Normally there would be petty arguments or random complaints, but instead there was a heavy silence that made me feel like I had walked into a room where everyone had already been talking about me. My mom eventually cleared her throat and said that we had something serious to discuss. As soon as she said it, everyone looked directly at me, and a cold wave rolled through my stomach. She began accusing me of being distant, busy, too hard to reach, as if growing up and moving away were crimes. I tried to explain that I lived 2 hours away and worked full-time, but my dad cut me off and said they expected honesty from me. I didn't understand what he meant until Liam slid an envelope across the table. My name was written on it in my mother's handwriting, and when I opened it, I found their bank statements. Every page showed withdrawals that had my name marked as the person who supposedly took the money. My mind went blank for a moment. I asked them what it was, and my mom said they knew I had been taking money from them. It shocked me so much that I laughed because it sounded so ridiculous. I told them I had never touched their accounts, but my dad insisted that I stop lying. He said anyone could see I had been struggling and that of course I would eventually take money from them. The way he said it made me feel like he had been waiting for the chance to accuse me. I tried to explain that the signatures weren't mine, and that someone must have forged them. My dad slammed his fist onto the table, telling me not to push this any further. It was in that moment that I noticed a tiny shift in Liam's expression, like guilt tightening around his eyes. I turned to him and asked if he knew something about this. He flinched, and that reaction alone said more than any words could. My mom immediately grabbed his arm, telling me not to drag him into my mess, but everyone had already seen his reaction. I said his name again, and he finally broke. He started crying and admitted that he had debts. He thought he could put the money back before anyone noticed. When our dad discovered the missing funds, Liam panicked and said it was me. He apologized over and over, but the apology felt weightless and too late. What hurt even more was how my parents reacted. Instead of being angry at him for stealing or for lying, they turned against me again. My dad shouted that I had pressured Liam into confessing. My mom insisted that if I had been a better daughter, Liam wouldn't have felt so desperate. She blamed me for everything, his choices, his lies, even his financial mess. That was the moment something inside me finally shattered. I realized it didn't matter what the truth was. They didn't want a solution. They just wanted someone convenient to blame, and I had always been that person. I stood up and said I was done. My mom demanded that I sit back down because we weren't finished. I told her that I was finished, that I meant it. Liam reached for me, begging me not to hate him. I told him I didn't hate him, but I would never trust him again. I walked out while my parents were still yelling behind me. Their voices grew quieter with every step I took, until I shut the door and heard nothing but my own breathing. Driving home that night felt strangely quiet and painfully freeing at the same time. Like breaking out of a cage I didn't realize I'd been trapped in my entire life. The next morning, I blocked all of them. A week later, Liam emailed me again, completely confessing everything and begging me to talk to our parents because, according to him, they were hurting. It almost made me laugh. They had nearly destroyed my relationship with them over a lie, and now they were the ones who felt wounded. I didn't reply. They showed me who they truly were that night. Not a family. Not people who cared about truth or fairness. Just people who needed a scapegoat. And I finally stopped volunteering for that role.